All right, good morning. Today we are going to do a rock cycle experiment with crayons, and maybe after I'm done this video you can try it too. It's lots of fun. So you need some old crayons. They don't have to be in good shape. They could be your old stubby ones without papers, with papers, whatever. So grab some crayons. You don't need too many, maybe 4, 5, 6, whatever you want. And we are going to end up peeling them, and we'll talk about how to do that in a minute, because at first I had trouble with that, but then I figured out an easy way to do it. You can either have a grater or a vegetable peeler. You don't need both, just one of them. You need some aluminum foil. If you don't have aluminum foil, then you can use wax paper. You need a stack of heavy books. You possibly need scissors. You need a somewhat large bowl, and you need a kettle full of water. Okay, so we talked about how to peel these, or we will talk about how to peel these. So I just basically take my thumb and kind of do that, and I found that was the easiest way to try and peel them. You might have a better way than me, and if you do, go ahead and peel your crayons. So now these look like a bunch of ordinary crayons, but they're going to represent rocks today. We're going to think of them as rocks, okay? So I said you can either get a vegetable peeler or a grater. We tried both, Paige and I, and we found the grater was not as easy. Yeah, it doesn't work. But the vegetable peeler works really well. If you are not used to using a vegetable peeler, make sure you get a parent to help you, okay? So I have different, and you just peel it like you would a carrot or potato, and get some. This is actually, we're creating sediment, okay? So we're thinking of the crayons as rock, and the grater is erosion. Now what erosion is, it's either a natural or a man-made process of rocks moving together to break down into sediment. So what can cause rocks to break down into sediment? Well, waves, wind, glaciers moving together, landslides, storms, and man-made processes too, like an excavator. So there's all kinds of things that can cause erosion naturally or man-made, but I'm doing the erosion with this peeler right here. Oh, there go my notes. Okay, so that should be good enough. So I have a bunch of colors here. You can use as many colors as you want. All right, so the first kind of rock that we're going to talk about today is sedimentary rock. Sedimentary rock is created from pressure. So this is the sediment, okay? Sediment can be sand, sediment can be stone, it could be clay.
It's just little pieces of something.
Yeah, it's little pieces of mineral or rock that forms layers. So you see how I'm forming layers here? And they just kind of all go on top of each other, almost like a layer cake. And then they're usually formed under water. So the water puts pressure on the sediment to form a sedimentary rock. I have an example of a sedimentary rock that I found when I was at Pancake Bay last summer. And you can see that it has very distinct layers. So that's a sedimentary rock. So we'll put a little bit of pressure on it and pretend that this is at the bottom of an ocean or a bottom of a lake. So that right there, and we're in the hot sun today, so that's actually nice. That right there would be our sedimentary rock, okay? So sedimentary rocks are made from other rocks and minerals, and they just layer on top of each other, oftentimes under an ocean or under a lake, and they're pressed together to form sediments. Sediments, sedimentary rock, okay? So our next type of rock in our rock cycle is a metamorphic rock. That means that it's changed. Metamorphic means changed. So they need, I'm gonna add a little bit more sediment here from my rock sediment. So again, this could be clay or silt or sand or pieces of broken off rock or broken off lava. So this is when you apply some heat and pressure. I made sure to get some gray crayon to represent slate. I got some turquoise to represent turquoise. I got some yellow to represent sand. So they are formed when rock is transformed into another kind of rock. So this sediment is formed into a metamorphic. And how is this done? Well, this is done with heat and pressure. So I'm going to use my hands, and hands have a little bit of heat in them. I also have a mallet here. So if you happen to have a mallet at home, you can use your mallet, which is a very good tool to use for this. If you don't have a mallet, you could put a whole bunch of books on top, and you can press down on it, and you could really put some pressure on there. But I have my mallet, so I'm going to keep going with that. And I'm going to be forming my metamorphic rock, which means changed rock. So let's take a look at this changed rock. Okay, there you can go. You can see that it's not so much layers anymore. It's more pieces of sediment, rock, and mineral kind of swirled together. So if you ever see a swirled rock, or if you ever see one of those rocks that look like it has cement pieces in them, that is a metamorphic rock. And I have a metamorphic rock right here. And metamorphic rocks still have layers. So you can actually see the layers within this beautiful rock here. But it is a, heat and pressure that has created this. Now these rocks rarely have fossils in them because the heat would destroy the fossils. So, all right. So now going to our next type of rock in the rock cycle, and they are called igneous rocks. And for igneous rocks, I want you to think of liquid rock. Okay, liquid rock that cools. So I'm going to add a little bit more of our sediment just because it's fun and because we have it here. So liquid rock is called magma, okay? And magma, think of lava from a volcano, okay? So we have different sizes of sediment too, because sometimes it's big rock, sometimes it's little grains of sand. So it doesn't need to all be the same size here. Okay, so this is formed when there's intense heat. So I'm going to pause it right here while I get my heat source ready. So we talked about how igneous rock needs to turn into liquid rock. And how does rock turn into liquid rock? With intense heat. So we boiled some water in a kettle here. Make sure you get your parents' help with this before you do it on your own, and have some parent supervision. So now we have our rock that was metamorphic, that was changed rock. So we put it together, and we're going to put it in our little boat, our little foil boat here. So you can create a little foil boat of your own, and I'll just put some sides up so the rock doesn't fall into our intense heat. Okay, so here we go. So if you want to zoom in on that. So this might take a little while for the heat. Oh, actually, it's not taking too long at all, I don't think. Okay, you can already see that some of the crayon, or I should say the rock,
right here is melting.
Yeah, is starting to melt. Okay, so a real life example of an igneous rock is this rock right here. It's called obsidian. So you can see that the texture of igneous rocks is often shiny. It's not always shiny because it's melted, but it's also sometimes grainy. So you can see that this is really starting to work, and then we're going to cool it. So let's go over our 3 types of rocks, and I happen to have a rock kit. That says 26, and that says 29. Okay, so this is sedimentary rock. Remember, sedimentary rock is layers of sediment. Okay, so we have, you can see kind of the layers of sediment in all of these rocks, the layers of sediment, okay? Metamorphic rock means changed rock. So it's your sedimentary rock that is now changed into metamorphic rock. How is it changed? Well, with pressure, okay? So a lot of pressure has been applied to it. So it usually still has layers. And we have slate, which is a common one. You could see it's kind of formed into those layers. We have marble, which is a common one. Okay, and then our igneous rock is when there's intense heat and it's liquid rock. Liquid rock is called magma, and it heats and then it cools, and it often has a shiny or a grainy type of appearance. So you can see this looks like how lava would look, right? So it's often very grainy. And so you can see our igneous rock right here. It's all melted beautifully, and then we're going to let it cool. So can igneous rock change back into sedimentary rock? Absolutely, because it's a rock cycle. It's like a circle. So I will show you. So it's like a circle. So we have our sedimentary rock, and if you apply pressure, becomes your metamorphic rock, and if you apply extreme heat and pressure, becomes the igneous rock. But igneous rock can become sedimentary rock. Well, how does it become sedimentary rock? It has to break down. So how will it break down? It'll break down with erosion. So it can be a landslide, a storm, glaciers, whatever, and then it's going to break down into sedimentary, form into layers under the oceans or the lakes, and again, go through the cycle. It never stops, and actually it can go the other way. Sedimentary rock can change into igneous rock with a lot of heat and pressure, and vice versa. So that is the rock cycle demonstrated with crayons. One last thing, you're very carefully going to take your little aluminum boat out, and you're going to let it cool into a beautiful igneous rock. Be careful when you're doing that, or you can just let the water cool. Okay, and you can see all the different types of sediment swirled together. Afterwards, I'm going to post a video of what to do with the rest of your melted crayons. We're going to make a really cool bookmark. Okay, thanks.